Tarek, great to get you on to discuss the implications of this, because this is going to be quite a significant contractionary fiscal policy being announced by the Saudis here. Certainly something that we haven't seen in history with regards to the magnitude of the hike in the VAT here. What impact is this going to have on the economy?
Yes, hello, good morning, Dan. This is going to have a huge impact on the Saudi economy. You mentioned the double whammy earlier, but actually it's a triple whammy because in addition to lower oil prices and also the pandemic, we have an expat exodus which is taking place at the moment as people lose their jobs. So we are already in a very, very difficult situation. And the increase is not just high by regional standards. We're obviously fairly new with the VAT experiment across the region, but a 10% hike is virtually unprecedented anywhere in the world. And so this is going to have a massive impact on disposable income and a huge impact on consumption-related industries.
Tarek, do you think this could also perhaps pave the way for other more advanced economies in the GCC, like the UAE, for example, to introduce their own form of hike of its VAT, or perhaps even introduce income taxes, which is something that the region has been largely void of?
Yes, look, I think all taxation is on the cards going forward. Clearly, the starting point is a very, very low tax regime. There are still, don't forget, countries within the GCC that have a zero rate VAT, despite the unified VAT agreement, which was signed in December 2015, obliging them to start introducing VAT. So the disparity that we have now is pretty large between the no VAT countries and the likes of Saudi Arabia, and pressure will certainly build both from a fiscal perspective, but also from a GCC unification perspective. By that I mean a unification of the customs union to raise VAT in other territories.
And Tarek, give us a sense of how this is going to impact the average Saudi citizen, especially with other contractionary fiscal measures like the withdrawal of the cost of living allowance. How is it going to be received by them?
Well, we'll have to wait and see is the answer. But my guess is that, as I said, a 10% increase in VAT, assuming that a typical household, let's say, will spend 95% of their disposable income. If 10% of that, in addition to the 5% that was already going to VAT, is taken away, then that clearly has a tremendous impact on household spending capacity. Whether it's going to be absorbed easily remains to be seen. But my guess is that August, July, September, October are going to be particularly difficult months for the consumption sectors, given that we had, as you just mentioned, a build-up in purchases over the last few weeks.
And thinking more from the business angle and, for example, booking purchases, is anybody in particular going to benefit from this within the wider Gulf?
Well, yes. I mean, there are all kinds of issues that we have to think about. For example, under the VAT agreement, GCC territory for VAT is considered to be unified, which means that if, for example, you were to buy, a laptop from Dubai and pay 5% VAT, you ought to be able to take it back into Saudi Arabia and not pay any additional duty on that. Now, you may be able to do that with a single laptop, but going back with a lorry full of laptops may raise some eyebrows and is likely to incur some penalties. That should not be allowed under the agreement that was signed, but at the moment, there's no clarity as to whether, in fact, these additional payments will be demanded on the borders.